What is up, enthusiasts? It is Cedar Flags here, and welcome back to another video. So in my recent videos, I've been talking a lot about Cedar Point, America's rock and roller coaster, but for this video, I want to go across the United States over to Valencia, California to Six Flags Magic Mountain. Besides Cedar Point, this is probably the biggest and most well-known amusement park in the country, hosting 19 roller coasters, which is more than any other roller coaster collection on the planet, and it hosts some roller coasters like Twisted Colossus, their 2015 dueling RMC, as well as some other coasters like their Aerodynamics 4D Coaster X2, their Gaio Vanilla Hyper Goliath, and their newest coaster, their dueling launch coaster West Coast Racers, made by Premier Rides. Despite all these world-class attractions, today we will be talking about a lesser-known ride at the park that has just been removed, the Intamin Zaxspin Green Lantern First Flight. Now, Intamin Zaxspins are seen all around the world, but due to California regulations, these have a very uncomfortable rock to them, and it is actually claimed as one of the worst roller coasters on the planet. They, of course, have removed this coaster and are relocating it to La Ronde as we speak, but back at the park, there's an empty spot. So what's going to replace it? Well, here are my thoughts and concerns about the land that used to possess Green Lantern First Flight at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Before we look too much into the actual possibilities, I want to talk about the plot of land that Green Lantern used to sit on. It's not necessarily the biggest plot of land. You're not going to see something like a Giga or a Dive coaster in this plot of land, because it is a very small plot of land. More specifically, the actual ride's plot of land was 250 by 200 feet, and that's counting the front plaza as well. So this is going to be a very small addition when it comes to footprint. The spot that Green Lantern used to be in was also sandwiched right in between Batman the Ride, Riddler's Revenge, Tidal Wave, and their arcade building. So we don't have a lot to work with. Now, this plot of land is actually inside the Metropolis part of the park, which is the DC themed part of the park, with the aforementioned Batman the Ride and Riddler's Revenge really highlighting the spot, as well as the Battle for Metropolis Dark Ride. Now, let me just say that Tidal Wave does not fit here, and I really think if they're going to put a new addition here and it's going to be nice and shiny, they're going to have to take out Tidal Wave or relocate it for another part in the park. So let's be generous here and include the spot of Tidal Wave in this selection. So let me just say that I believe this will be superhero themed. Like I said, it is right in the center of the Metropolis section, so I feel like that would be the best suited theme for this part of the park. Now for the possibilities, I want to split this into two sections. First of all, the flat rides, and second of all, the roller coasters. Now I'm going to get into the flat rides first, even though I feel like a roller coaster would be more likely at this point, since we are talking about Six Flags Magic Mountain, and they love their roller coasters. The first thing I want to highlight is the Zamperla Super Air Race. Now, there are only one of these being proposed at the moment, and that is going to be at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. And it's basically just your average Zamperla Air Race, but actually elevated. It goes up in the air, and it's a lot bigger of a ride than your traditional air race. I feel like this would definitely be a highlight of this plot of land, because Green Lantern was never the most popular ride, and the critical reception of this ride, GP or enthusiast, was really not good in the first place. So I feel like any replacement, flat ride or roller coaster, would be good at this point. Just make it look more modern and shiny, and really anyone's going to come flock to it at one point in time or another. The next model I want to talk about is the Zamperla Endeavor. This is their modern intake on the actual Enterprise model that was made by Schwarzkopf and Huss back in the 70s and 80s. Now, I really don't think that this would be the most likely possibility, but I do think it is still very possible. Now, it looks like a pretty good ride, and it would be pretty unique to the park. So I feel like this would draw in a few crowds, maybe put some advertisement on it, and talk about the uniqueness of the ride in the area which it's settled in. And of course, put a superhero theme on there, maybe like a Wonder Woman Lasso of Truth kind of theme on there, or maybe even a Green Lantern theme once again. Who really knows? The sky's the limit when it comes to the DC theming. Now, I know this next one's going to turn a few heads, but bear with me with this one. I feel like another possibility is the Larson Giga Loop, which is their supersized version of the Larson Super Loop, example Mardi Gras Hangover at Great America. Now, it is Six Flags we're talking about, and I don't want to trash Six Flags, but their newer business model has included a bunch of these super loops, and I really don't feel like they're done overall. But I feel like they're going to add them in smaller increments across the Six Flags chain to their remaining parks. And I feel like a park that really needs one is Six Flags Magic Mountain. And I feel like if they were to do this, they would put it in this section. It would be the perfect section to do it. And, you know, put another fancy old super loop right there. Now, of course, I do feel like this is the least likely out of the six, but there is a roller coaster that I also feel like is very unlikely. But about this Super Loop, they can make it a little slightly taller than Mardi Gras Hangover, and maybe call it the tallest looping ride in the world. And of course, you know Six Flags, they'll call it a roller coaster. Speaking of roller coasters, let's get into real roller coaster territory. The first one I want to talk about is the first out of three. There are three possibilities that I could see with a roller coaster in the spot. Now, like I said, I feel like a roller coaster would eventually be more likely than a flat ride in the spot, just because Six Flags Magic Mountain loves to go above and beyond with their roller coasters as opposed to their flat rides like some other parks. Now, I really feel like this won't be the Giga or the spinning coaster that they were expecting, but at the same time, this is going to be a pretty decent installment and it's going to have a lot of variety. Now, I have three models that I would like to talk about. The first one would definitely be the best, the biggest, but in my opinion, the least likely. It would also take up the most space. This would be the Intamin water coaster, for example, Speed at Energylandia or Dive Vertical at Mirabilandia. This would definitely fill a spot in the park's lineup as a water coaster, and even in the US too, as one of these Intamin water coasters with these vertical lift hills. It would definitely give people the opportunity to escape the summer sun in California, and it would definitely be a worthy replacement of the former tidal wave like I mentioned earlier. The next roller coaster I'm about to mention is probably not that likely either, but still a little more likely than that. It would just be an extended version of the SNS 4D free spin coaster, similar to the Joker models and the Batman models you see at multiple Six Flags parks. Now, I feel like this would also be a good fit at Magic Mountain. Even though they have a superior 4D coaster, they would have a pretty good free spinning coaster as well. Now, do I feel like this would be the best? No, absolutely not, but I feel like it would be a good pick nonetheless. For park guests, this would definitely be a worthy successor of the original Intamin Zack Spin that used to sit there, and would provide a lot of variety for Southern California. Now, the final one I want to talk about is actually what I feel like would be the most likely out of all six of these possibilities. And this would be a Mack Rides Power Splash, also known as the Water Shuttle Coaster. Now, there are currently one of these actually open, which is Pulsar at Walibi, Belgium, but there's going to be one opening at Six Flags Over Texas as an Aquaman ride. Now, if there was a DC ride in this section of the park, I feel like there would be a great possibility that we would have one of these power splashes also themed to Aquaman. As the Batman the rides and the Jokers and the Super Loops, I could see another trend going with these power splashes being an Aquaman themed ride. And an Aquaman themed ride in this part of the park would definitely be a great crowd pleaser, especially in Metropolis. And with that summer sun problem, well, we got you covered with another water coaster. This would attract a lot of people and is a capacity machine with a turntable element. Now, do I feel like this is the number one most likely possibility that could fill in the spot? Actually, yes. I really feel like this would be a good possibility, and I'm surprised not a lot of people have talked about one of these Power Splash models replacing Green Lantern. I feel like it would be a great DC opportunity, a great way to escape the summer sun, and it would definitely fit in this plot of land, barring the existence of the tidal wave ride. So those are all my possibilities. What do you guys think? Just let me know down in the comments below. We are coming very close to 2,000 subscribers, and by the time I post this, I hope to be near that. So thank you guys for the continuous support, and I hope to see you guys flocking back to my channel for some more videos. So just like always, this is Cedar Flags, and I will see you guys later.